With Baldur's Gate 3 set to release early 2023, I thought this would be a good opportunity to take a good look at what has changed 2 years on into early access. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Archive, and today we're going to be taking a look at Baldur's Gate 3 2 years on. So first off, I've been wanting to talk about Dungeons and Dragons for ages. I've sat there and tried to talk with my wife and persuade her to play games with me, but she just has no interest in my nerdy ways whatsoever. Although I've played D&D a handful of times, I have a good understanding of the rule set due to my many hours of watching Critical Role. Yes, I'm a critter. With my newfound love of Dungeons & Dragons and my love of video games, it was only a matter of time until I found Baldur's Gate 3. So with all that said, the best place I have found to talk about D&D is with you guys. Baldur's Gate 3 is an RPG based on the 5th edition rule set and is being developed by Larian Studios. Early access started back in October 2020 with a huge success, selling over 1 million copies in just over a week. When we was given early access, we was given the first act of the game and were told we easily had 20 hours of content. Well, 4 playthroughs later and 120 hours sunk into the game, I think it's safe to say this game has a lot to offer and a lot of replayability. I mean, I'm this far into the game and still discovering new things to do. Although a lot of people see early access as a negative due to a lot of companies only really using early access to make a little bit of extra money and not really make any changes in that time, this doesn't seem to be the case for Larian Studios. We are 2 years in and we've had 6 Panel from Hells and had 8 major patches that have all brought their own changes to the game. It really does seem that Larian have the best intention for the community and the game. So with that said, let's take a look at some of the significant updates since October 2020. Starting with the character creation. From the start we was always told we would be getting the playable classes and races from the player's handbook. Although the early access started, we only had the 6 out of the 12 classes, these being the fighter, the rogue, the warlock, wizard, ranger and the cleric. But throughout the course of early access they have slowly started to add more, these being the druid, sorcerer, barbarian and just lately the bard. And we're still expecting the paladin and the monk to be added at a later date, and I'm sure that these will be added whilst early access is still going ahead. With all of these classes added, we also received a lot of new spells and abilities. With regards to playable races, we were given the 8 out of the 11 being the drow, dwarf, elf, half-elf, githyanki, halfling, human and the tiefling. And we also got access to the gnome race in the last patch. But we are still expecting to see the Dragonborn and the Half-Orc added at a later date. Another feature added was character backgrounds. This gave everyone their own little secret mini quest on their backgrounds. If you complete these you would receive inspiration points, just a nice little fine detail to the game. And lastly we was given some more character creation bits, more hairstyles and just being able to two-tone our hair and stuff like that. I'm expecting to see a lot more added to this feature when the game is released. Camp supplies were added to the game so that you couldn't just long rest after every fight, as this just made every situation easier and less threatening. Now you need to actually keep plenty of food on standby so that you can complete your long rest. Whilst on the subject of camps, Larian also added mini camps that represent the area that you were staying in, as before you would always get taken back to the same camp. It's little things like this that keeps the player immersed into the game. Another big change was the way that we received XP. So before the changes, the most efficient way to level up was just to kill everything or everyone that you encountered, as this would just give you XP for it. And if you tried to talk your way out of it, you wouldn't receive anything. But with the new XP change, this gives the player a lot more choices and allows you to approach situations in very different ways and still receive rewards for doing so. The game is also graphically improved massively. Just looking back at early footage shows you just how much. From cinematics to the character models, the light and the shadows of all the areas, they gave us a whole new UI system that we could spend a whole day just talking about. But my favourite feature that has been added to the game was the battle damage. Whilst you're in fights, you can actually see your character becoming more blooded and bruised from combat. Larian also made massive improvements with the AI system. At the start of early access, it seemed whilst in combat, the AI wouldn't know what to do and it'd get stuck. This doesn't seem to be the case anymore. They also sped up the combat by adding the Swarm AI feature. This allows enemies in consecutive order to make moves at the same time, making combat feel a lot smoother. So it's safe to say that Larian have been working hard to improve the game and to keep us all regularly updated throughout the 2 years. This proves that some companies can do early access right. So that's it for me anyway guys for this video. What's your favourite patch? What do you still want them to change? Let me know in the comments down below and don't forget to hit the thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!